everyone. Now, the man who killed my son will be up for parole on December the 6th, 2026. So I am in the process of writing a parole letter. Yes, it is 2 years away. As with all important letters, it has to be well thought out and written according to the way they want to see it. By they, I mean the parole board. Now, a parole protest letter is a written statement sent to a parole board by someone who opposes the release of a prisoner on parole. Victims concerned, community members, or anyone interested in the case can submit these protest letters. The purpose of a parole protest letter is to provide the parole board with additional insights into the potential impact of releasing the prisoner on parole, especially regarding safety concerns, the emotional and physical well-being of the victims, and the overall sense of justice within the community. Each state has faults on what should be included in the format of the protest letter, but the essential information is typically the same. Case identification is very important. Now, specific details about the prisoner and the case to ensure the parole board knows exactly which case the letter refers to. There are many prisoners coming up for parole. So you have to make sure they understand who the person is, such as the offender's name, John Doe Jr. Ensure that it is the same as on all legal documents, as many felons have the same name. Now, a state identification number, which is commonly called SID, S-I-D, is a unique number given to the people in jail. It helps police and prison workers to keep track of a person's criminal history and jail time. It also ensures that all the records of someone's crimes in the state are correctly linked and updated. Now, the SDCJ number is a unique identifier utilized by the State Department of Criminal Justice, which oversees correctional institutions, parole, probation, and criminal justice policy to promote public safety and the rehabilitation of offenders. For instance, in Texas, this identifier is known as a TDCJ, the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. And this is when he goes into prison, is when this comes into effect. The SID number is for jail. Now, in your letter, salutate, please use extreme members of the parole board or honorable parole board members, anything but sir or madam. I don't think I have to tell you the reasons why for that. Say who you are. And again, say the victim's name and that you protest parole. Say the victim's name many times during the letter. My name is Sara Raney, and I am the bereaved mother of Dr. Kenley Gene Raney, and I am here to express my strong opposition to the parole of John Doe Jr. He was responsible for the tragic deaths of my son and Marshal, having been driving under the influence at a speed of 136 miles per hour when he crashed into them while they were sleeping at a state-designated safe rest area on January 25th, 2019. Bring the victim to life, talking about their age, the milestones they've achieved, and the kind of life they led. Pepper this with personal stories that showcase their true spirit. The parole board must understand not just the loss, but the potential that was extinguished and how they could have continued to touch and improve the world around them. 3, reasons for opposition. Detail reasons why you believe the prisoner should not be released on parole. This can include arguments about the severity of the crime, the impact on victims and their families, the offender's behavior while incarcerated, and any concerns about the potential risk to society if this offender is released? Are you afraid of him? Or what he might do to your family or your friends? Tell them again not to release John Doe, to reject his parole and delay his parole for as long as the law allows. Be strong. John Doe Jr. must fulfill his prison sentence. Having received a life sentence for his actions of drinking and driving, which tragically resulted in the loss of my son, Dr. Kenley Gene Raney, keep saying your child's name and the offender's name often. Request parole restrictions such as electronic monitoring devices and IIDs. In a future video, I will give you an example of my request. Now, an electronic monitoring device, is a surveillance tool often worn as an ankle bracelet that uses GPS or radio frequency to track and restrict the movements of offenders as an alternative incarceration. Now, I have already discussed this in another video in detail. Now, the IID, which is ignition interlock devices, are critical tools in the effort to prevent a drunk driving. These devices are breathalyzers connected to a vehicle's ignition system. Before the car can be started, the driver must breathe into the IID. If the device detects alcohol on the driver's breath above a preset limit, usually as set as a blood alcohol concentration BAC 0.02 or lower. In my case, the guy that was drunk driving and killed my son was 2.0, way over the limit. The vehicle would not start. Now, if you think about this, how many lives would be saved if this breathalyzer was installed in the cars? There are people out there trying to get this passed, but then there are so many other people out there who are saying no. They think it's an invasion of their privacy. But right now, every 70 seconds, somebody is being affected by a drunk driver. Every 70 seconds. And I understand the other year there was 13,000 people. 13,000 people involved who were hurt or killed by a drunk driver. Now we have the SCRAM device. It's SCRAM device. Now this is a continuous remote alcohol monitor. It functions 24/7, tracks alcohol levels through the skin. It's designed to be tamper resistant and promptly alerts authorities if tampering occurs. Although Mr. Felon is expected to bear the cost of this monitoring, there are support. In other words, our government will pay. To me, it's unthinkable. But anyway, that's just the way it is. Now, closing remarks. Tell them again not to release John Doe, to reject the parole and delay it as long as the law allows. Include victim impact statements, VIS, which allow crime victims to describe the crime's physical, emotional, and financial impact on them and their families to the court or parole board. This statement influences sentencing by providing insight into the victim's suffering, enabling victims to be heard and participate in justice. Now, guidelines for these statements vary, but typically include the crime's impact, victims' feelings, and sentencing recommendations. Contact the Victim Service Division for a packet you need to complete. You should have completed the VIS before the trial. If so, they will be delivered to the parole board. Now, like I mentioned in past videos, my victim impact statements disappeared because I had a DA who did not, I guess, use the word respect victims' rights. Now, in the future videos, I will discuss what kind of additional requests you can ask, and we'll show you examples of VIS victims' impact statements. Now, the method of submitting a parole protest letter its significance can differ depending on the area, but it's typically seen as a crucial component of the parole evaluation process. Now, since each state has its regulations, contacting the district attorney's office will provide you with their requirements. You can also contact the State Department of Criminal Justice Victim Services Division. My journey underscores the critical importance of advocacy, persistence, be that squeaky wheel, and the need for a legal system that better supports victims and their families, ensuring our rights as victims are not sidelined by procedural bottlenecks or the lack of empathy in my case. You must stay involved and be the squeaky wheel gets grease. I cannot say that enough. Do not sit back and let other people do the work. Be involved. Now let's unite to guide others through their darkest moments by sharing our stories. By doing so, we can empower those negatively the legal system to pursue justice for the loved ones or for our loved ones. Together we can make a difference. Knowledge is power. Please share your stories and help other victims going through the worst time in their lives. Together we can help others navigate the legal system and get justice for our loved ones. Now remember, in the face of adversity, we're stronger together. Let's keep the conversation going for Kenley, Marshal, and every other soul taken too soon. Our journey towards justice and healing continues. I am the proud mother of Dr. Kenley Gene Raney, who, along with his faithful friend Marshal, was killed by a drunk driver as they slept in a rest area, a safe rest area, on January 25th, 2019. Thank you.